Hello, everyone. Ron Watley here. I hope all is well with each and every one of you. Welcome back to episode 7 of the Real Black Talk segment. On this episode, we're going to be talking about, was Will Smith wrong? We're also going to be talking about how Icon Park is lacking accountability. We're going to talk about the 12 and 14-year-old tragic accident. And finally, should social media require ID for age verification? Ikea?
Yeah, so Will Smith, which y'all know, been going on forever. I feel like it's been a week since that whole Slapgate, but it is causing a lot of traction. It seems like every news outlet has talked about this Slapgate. And so I'm just gonna tell y'all straight up how I feel. I feel like Will Smith was wrong. Point blank, period. You got out of your seat, you walked up to Chris, which granted, somebody walking up, you should have already been kind of had your guard up, like what's going on. But maybe he thought he was gonna come give him a hug. I don't know. I just feel personally it was not that serious compared to other situations, compared to other jokes and statements being made, being disrespectful for you to get out of your seat and put your hands on another man. I ain't gonna get into it was a black man, white man thing. No, you still technically assaulted somebody over a statement being made, which I feel like to me is deeper than that. It has nothing to do with alopecia. It has everything to do with being humiliated for the longest time now, which started with them. You got on the internet on Red Table Talk. You and Jada decided y'all wanted to talk about the whole entanglement situation. We didn't ask for it. Yeah, we kind of heard about it through the grapevine, but we didn't really just know. Y'all gave details and she gave you an excuse. And to me, that's embarrassing enough. I mean, the world got to watch you open the world up to the business that's going on in your marriage. Whether y'all have an open marriage or not, that's not really our business. But I just feel like right before Chris said what he said, Regina King also, I'm sorry, was it Regina Hall or is it King? Whatever.
Regina Hall.
Regina Hall. I'm sorry, I was gonna say no, Regina King's the other lady. But she said the same thing. I mean, she was talking about all single men. Come on up here, Will. Jada don't mind. And they laughed it off.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think, like you said, they opened that up on the Red Table Talk. They promote that as being this open door, this full access to the family. You have to think about that, man. You open up your life. Granted, you're a celebrity, but there are a lot of private, Jay-Z and Beyonce, for example. You don't see and hear a lot of their stuff, like the elevator scene that was caught on camera. So that's how that got out. You didn't see them have a sit down at a table and be like, oh yeah, this is what happened with my sister-in-law and this is why it happened. We still don't truly know why it happened because him nor Solange ever came out and specifically stated what happened for that altercation to take place. When you put your business out there, you open that can of worms. And I just feel like it was uncomfortable seeing that. And then, he tried to be, like I told people, the Will Smith that we're used to seeing is always well put together, crispy, edge up, clean cut brother. On that Red Table Talk, it was uncomfortable because you're like, okay, bro, looked like he just got off a flight from filming, 20 hours on the set somewhere. And she decided, oh, we need to talk about this on camera. And it felt uncomfortable. I didn't like when people made fun of him for him being emotional about the woman that he loved and he's been with for almost 3 decades, telling everybody that she cheated on him. And it's a certain feeling that you have, especially when you love somebody. I mean, I've been there with my heart broken before, but it's a certain feeling that you have when the woman that you love, is messing around with someone else. And so I could empathize with the brother, and everyone made fun of him for crying. Everyone made fun of him for being emotional. And then now he goes up and he slaps someone and now he's aggressive and people are still talking about him. So he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Now, I feel like there's nothing wrong with protecting your wife. I'd have been all for him getting physical if it looked or it was physical towards his wife or himself, their safety, their physical safety. Now, I didn't know she had alopecia. I don't follow them like that. I love the new show. I love the new show Bel Air. But my thought was, y'all are a brand. Y'all are a complete brand. The Smith brand is a brand. Will Smith alone is a brand. People been talking about your kids and ain't nobody got slapped. Okay? Nobody got slapped for sleeping with your wife. Nobody got slapped for making the comments about your wife and all the memes. And as soon as August, the month came up, there was hella August Alsina memes, right? Nobody got slapped then. I felt like you laughed, and you laughed from your soul. Some people said, oh, he was defending his wife, and I feel like, and that's cool. I get it. But again, you have a whole brand. Now you have a brand new show with a whole new set of actors that you employ. You are the executive producer of this show, and it's hot. It's fire. I've watched all 10 episodes already. Could you be canceled because of this? Could you have just ruined your brand? Because there's a lot of brothers that 6 feet under and behind bars because they felt like they had to prove they weren't a punk. I had to prove my love. And then this chick, when you locked up or she's underneath, you underneath the ground.
I get that though. I get that though.
You get it? What's up?
When do people stop and say, we human? And say, he had a human moment. Everybody wants to dissect their reason behind why he did what he did. Oh, he was embarrassed. Oh, he's protecting his wife. Oh, he's doing this. Oh, he's doing that. But when do we stop and say, I remember when I may or may not have overreacted in a situation and did something I shouldn't have done in front of a lot of people.
Facts.
Like nobody's like taking the time to say, is he okay?
He's not okay.
I said he battling demons.
But
I spoke it up earlier.
I'm saying it's the constant jokes. Is he wrong? Should they take his Oscar back? Like, okay, damn all that. When is anybody gonna say, I see the human behind the brand Will Smith? I see
There's
him
as
a person and as a man behind what he did.
I just said that. I just said when he had to, not to cut you off, I just said when he sat in front of the woman that he loves and she told him and humiliated him in front of, I say the same thing about Maury. Don't take me on no show to tell me them kids ain't mine. Don't take me on no show to tell me that all 30 niggas on the block ran a train on you. Don't do that.
Even through all of that, like I get all of that. I feel like he had a human moment, but also at the same time, I felt like in any and all situations, he needed to protect his wife. If you chose to stay, he cannot dictate what she does as a wife or as a woman. If you choose to stay, your place is to protect your wife. And I felt like he did that. He let him and everybody else know with all the jokes that he maybe laughed about, that he maybe didn't say nothing about, but maybe was feeling some type of way before, got to a point where it was like, okay, I got to let everybody know.
I mean, and I hear you, Jazz. I hear you on that. You do have to protect your wife. Yet at the same time, like I said, had it looked like it was about to get physical, there was a physically aggressive person coming, you and your wife's personal space. In the eyes of the law, is what I'm saying. You're going to ruin your brand. You're going to ruin your whole family behind what? Behind some words. You're a comedian yourself, sir. Your wife is an actress. What about all the fat jokes the original Uncle Phil got that was written in the script that he said? What about all the jokes that he said and sexist things that he said? Didn't nobody slapped him? You see what I'm saying?
You can't hold anybody else's actions accountable for what they did not do.
But that's what I'm saying. It's comedy. It's comedy though, and it was corny. It was a corny ass joke. Like I don't laugh at anything Chris Rock says. I'm not a Chris Rock fan.
Funny at all? It was like, okay, yeah, that was kind of like, Larry the Cable Guy joke. It wasn't funny.
Corny ass joke, and that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with protecting your woman. I'm not there. I will never say somebody's wrong for protecting their woman. But what I'm saying is, why put yourself in a legal situation to get yourself put into a, potentially worse situation? Because you're going to get stroked, and you know that. And there's consequences for all of our actions. We have human moments every freaking day. You don't go to work and slap the shit out of somebody because they said something to you.
Right. We all have human moments. You said something. We all have human moments, and we all deal with the consequences behind it. Why is he any different? Just because he made a show, he's been on a couple of shows,
that's what we're saying.
Different, but what I said was as a man to another man, right? Because that's not the first time that Chris has said something about Jada. He got on Jada when she called herself, her and Will, boycotting the Oscars, right?
Why was
They
even there?
boycotted the Oscars, which I felt like, to me, Jada, you kind of need to take a back seat because you haven't done enough work to even think you deserve an Oscar, right?
Wait, who was it?
His wife, Jada.
It was Jada. Jada did it 5 years ago, right?
Yeah,
so
it was in
Will
2016.
and them did that only to 5 years later. Now that you find out that, oh, you're being nominated again.
You care now. You're there.
To that
you
moment,
begged to be at the table.
Yes, it's like you wanted that plastic gold trophy with ain't it a white dude any damn way. You want, like, it's people who want to kill themselves to get that. We know you're a good actor. We've been told, Will, it don't matter if you never get an Oscar. We know hands down you are our top 5 Black actors, right?
And she was complaining,
but you cannot throw this out here like, yeah, hey y'all, we need ratings on this show, so let's go talk about our bedroom business, and then get mad at the internet's response. And then because now you're tired, but again, who do you blame for that? You can't get mad at Chris. You can't get mad at nobody, because once you put it on the internet, it becomes the world's business. And what they choose to do with it is up to them. That's why they tell you, be careful what you post online, because you will never be able to take it back.
It's and the same difference.
Like you could have pulled that man aside. You
the really same difference is people that post stuff on their page. They'll post their business, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, where people post stuff on the internet and they bash their baby daddy or baby mama, and then they're upset that people comment on it. Like, you can't do stuff in public and expect nothing to be seen. Now, I can understand, again, had Chris Rock approached them crazy, and then like you said, I thought it was weird. I just thought it was staged. First of all, I didn't know the Oscars was on. Let me start there. I seen all the memes and all the videos, and I seen the news. But what I got from it is when he leaned in, like, look at that, like that little corny stuff he does. You leaned into it, and he maybe thought he was gonna give him a kiss or hug. I don't know, but he slapped the shit out of him, and you don't slap no man.
But he took it like a G, though.
He did. But that's what I'm saying. That human moment. Chris Rock had a human moment too. He even stuttered and said, we about to give out a documentary, because he was checking himself. And that's what I'm saying. He was protecting his brand, because as corny as he is, I remember he told Kevin Hart, you Black people popular, I'm white people popular. Meaning my money bigger because I go for the bigger money. I go for the wider audience. Now, granted, I've never thought dude was funny, but he had a point, because he's out there. He's out there. But he's going to protect that. He's like, they didn't have me back. I'm going to be back again. You know what I'm saying? And then the other hosts made jokes, and just like Regina Hall made a joke about not only Will, but them other men. I don't know if them other men got lives, but again, it's comedy. It's comedy. They talk about fat people who you don't know why somebody's fat. There's a song that talk about eat something till it's like diabetes or something. Diabetics can be pissed. If we're going to be sensitive about every single thing that someone says, we shouldn't be there.
I don't think, in response to putting stuff on the internet, I don't think, and this is just my opinion because I don't know the man. I don't think that he agreed to it. I think maybe he knew.
He sat at the table, Jasmine. He sat at the table in front of a camera.
I'm saying anybody gonna get on camera and say whatever they feel they need to say, but behind closed doors, I do not think he agreed with that at all.
I don't believe you would get on camera and sit there and interview your husband that's telling you, I cheated on you, but I'm not gonna say I cheated. I had an entanglement. I don't want to call it cheating. Call it something cute.
What? No, what I'm saying is I don't think that he agreed to want to have his life put out there like that. Is
so
what I'm saying.
Do it?
So why did he sit down at the table?
He's already married to her. He's already.
It don't matter.
Either way it goes. If he was gonna do it anyway, it's already out there.
But why would he even sit there and be a part of it? Go ahead, bro.
But what happens when they talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce? Guess what they do? They don't say nothing. So we never know. Yeah, I was sleeping with your wife, and if they would have never responded, we would have been like, August, we know you do drugs. You high. Okay, good deal. And we move on. But they entertained it.
Let's be
and
clear.
August made a song about the.
Let's be clear. Come on, y'all. Come on. Will and Jada business been out there. They have an open relationship. They've been announced
They
this so
do.
many years ago. So I mean, pretty much, what you see is what you get. I mean, his stuff is not totally publicized like hers, but I mean, it was
Or
more to it all. To me, the slapping, disagree with what he did. How he went by doing it. To me, let's look at what do we truly call defending your spouse? I mean, what was you defending her from? Like, I mean, the world is talking about it right now. So, what are you defending her from?
Right.
What are you protecting her from?
but she
I
ain't
can see if,
protecting him.
when it's a form of protection, that means someone is trying to literally attack you, literally hurt you.
Right.
Um, none of this wasn't even targeted in the area of the what was that, the so-called entanglement. Like that
Right.
wasn't even brought up in this
No,
conversation, like in
it wasn't.
that incident. So
It
what
was
are you
GI
protecting?
Jane too.
He was
What are
talking
you
about the
protecting?
bald head.
You took one person and you uh basically humiliated him in front of a live studio audience and the world.
You did what you did to him what your wife did to you. And
Exactly.
you didn't
So
like it.
it was sort of like to me, of course I do feel like it was, staged, but I wouldn't dwell on that. But
I did too. I
um
did too.
but
That's true,
what I
Jane.
would say is that it was him, it was a get back. It was a step, to get that dignity back that he felt
And you
to
lost
prove
more
to her.
respect.
Yeah, but he went the wrong way of doing it. That could have resulted to anything if it was, like
Because what if
that.
Chris was like, "Oh, what's up?"
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
or had
I would
some
have.
people waiting outside, and did you really protect your family? Because what if you had
For
some
real.
people outside, smile, left the stage, said, "Okay, good night," and made the call, and was like, yeah, him and his family come out. I want you to, wet the car, whatever,
Yeah.
Did you really protect your wife, your children? Did you protect it in
And I
that
think a
moment?
lot of people get that mental, bro. I agree with you 100%.
Right,
And that's what I'm saying. You didn't protect the brand, the
right.
family. You have to
You
protect
didn't
the brand. And my thing is, like Ricky Smiley even said, he was like, I would have got up, went backstage. I'm like, where they come out at? He said, I pulled him aside and like, man, what you mean by that joke? Or, hey, my wife was really hurt by that. And Chris could have, hey, bro, I didn't know she had alopecia. Or I don't know if I'm saying it right.
He
But
didn't know. He said he didn't know.
and
Most
that's the
people
thing,
didn't.
like everybody don't know what everybody's going through. She's been
Exactly.
rocking the short hairdo since I've known of her as a child, and then her daughter's bald, her mom's bald. So it's like for me, when we get on this high horse of you have to at every cost, and that's the problem. And again, that's why we have so many brothers locked up. That's why we got so many in the grave, because I gotta prove my love to you every time we go out. Don't start none, won't be none.
The
Everybody's
person
I
left.
mean,
involved should never be with
it's called fighting.
violence.
And then this is what I question: for a woman to put her husband in a line of fire like that, the
Come on
question,
now, bro.
there's a question. That's what I start questioning. Like, do you have love for me? Are you protecting me?
Right.
Are you protecting what I would do, the outcome that this could turn to? Because now I'm standing up for you. Now I can see if you say, well, no, it's not the time. Don't do this. Where are you looking out for me in this situation? Where's your love for me? You know what I'm saying? That you even allow me to even see a facial expression to, go that far to the point where, you better do this. Whatever was done behind the camera.
Yeah. Because it was hot and cold.
If you love me, you would do what it takes to keep me from going that far. Like, even if you can handle the situation and, without any altercation, you would do that in order to put me in a situation where I can either lose my life or I take a life and be incarcerated. So it's just, all of that factor in when you think about, making decisions, taking those type of chances and making those decisions. When we say protection, again, we protect when someone is violently trying to attack. You know what I'm saying? Self-defense is what it's called.
Right.
Even the Serena and Venus father, briefly he went in the name of him, and he briefly said, like, we don't react to unless it's self-defense, not over a joke. So I just feel like at that moment he wanted to seize his
It's
because you act out of anger.
this is a whole
You
nother.
acted out of impulse. You was trying to please someone that probably still won't think you're man enough, after the
Well,
fact,
exactly. You're trying to
you know,
impress some people that it
right.
doesn't matter to, and
And
if I
that's
have
like,
to prove my love to you, wife,
right.
you're not my wife, and that's where I think a lot of women mess up because you putting, like you said, you putting your man in the line of fire. You putting him in a war zone for what? To prove
Right.
what to you? Is it turning you
A man
on?
is only supposed to do that when there is
Imminent danger.
yes, like, and you're home or you out on the street and like you posing a threat to his family. Yes, he's supposed to stand on the front line because time and time again we've seen women getting on the front line, standing in front of the dude, like, hold up, I ain't doing it. But I mean, it's women who will do that. Now you got these women out here saying, yeah, well, if a man ain't finna slap somebody like Will did, then he ain't for me, baby. You probably don't even have a man anyway. Because why would you want to risk your man's freedom over some words?
Okay,
I
so
could
let's.
see if he said something different, but unfortunately, it was something to me that was it made him look very shallow. It made him look like, he need therapy, which I've been saying, well, you need therapy.
Well,
You're battling some demons, and unfortunately, you need to deal with them. And yes, you do owe Chris an apology because that issued apology, that's not an apology for me.
yeah,
That's
that's handled.
apology to the
That's
public.
handled. Yeah,
You
that's
need to
publicist.
handle me the way that you handled me, like you did on stage. You need to step to me. I'm Chris. You will approach me like a man and say, look, I took it too far. I was wrong. And I got to take accountability. But unfortunately, it's a division with that. And, now he got to deal with the repercussions because they're going to be talking about this until they get some better news to talk about.
Well, and it's unfortunate, but of course, we don't want to forget about our other topics.
Yeah,
so, what are our thoughts on the Icon Park tragic accident with the teenager being ejected from the drop zone? And I know we're talking about this, but I just seen something else in Florida where some other teens passed away. Well, not passed away, they were saved. Excuse me. They were saved from a slingshot cable breaking. So these amusement rides, I guess they've been sitting since COVID, and they didn't inspect them. They just opened them back up. But the Icon Park situation, again, it was a teenager on the ride. Yeah, this drop zone here. I heard something about 75 miles per hour. And the video is it's something. It's horrible. You see the teen being thrown to the pavement, and you see the ride operators, one of them in shock, kind of grab his chest. And we're not going to show that out of respect for the teen and his family and all those involved. My issue is now the company, the owners of the ride, or the manufacturers, or whoever, the operators of the ride, they're now blaming the team. But there's also video where the team was questioning the harness and the safety of his harness. And one reason I don't ride rides is I've always been a bigger or taller dude. And I remember being on a roller coaster. Everybody had 3 clicks. I got 2. And when gravity took over and that roller coaster went down, one of them clicked. I had 1 left. And I was, ever since then, at 12, I'm like, I'm not riding any more rides like this. And it's unfortunate because we go out here to amusement parks to be amused, to be entertained, and not to be traumatized. And so I feel like this park needs to take accountability. I've even heard their first issued statement was, this isn't even supposed to operate if they're not all latched in.
Well, yeah,
something went wrong.
That is what they said. It was what they said was the light would come on if it wasn't, which some were saying the light was on. I didn't catch that. I wasn't, like I said, I saw it and that was enough for me. I was more concerned with, okay, like, is he alive or is he not? Because when you're seeing someone coming down, because from what they said at first, it looked like it got down to 100 feet. And that was when he fell out. So when you think about the law of motion, you're coming down a certain amount of feet and you're going at a certain amount of speed. So let's say it exceeded that because, again, you're coming down. Gravity's pulling you. So to say that he came off of there and, oh, well, the harness was still attached to the seat. Well, did you expect it to break is the first thing. Then they said it was locked Of course, again, laws of motion. If someone slips out, it's no longer resting on his chest, it's
Mhm.
going to continue to go down. But when you're looking at it, well, I mean, he was 6'5", 340 pounds. So they're saying he's 60 pounds over the weight limit. And the fact that they could sit up and say his weight played a factor.
How's he supposed to know what the weight limit is if
Right.
anybody?
As a
They got
child,
scales out there. What do you? I mean,
you're
what is that?
14. And then if you look, like I said, if you look
That was
at
me as 14, just an inch shorter.
14. So you see him in height 6'5" at 14. Yes, to me, like, you are a football player. Like, you ain't got to worry about it. You got the height already and you're only 14. So imagine when you're 18 and them college scouts is like, yeah, you already know Buddy is coming with us, because if we don't jump on him, we gonna miss an opportunity, right? So the fact that happened is unfortunate, because his future was stolen for one mistake. One mistake only is when you get on them rides. Every time I've gotten on one, I've always seen it. They walk, even when you get on the Twister doesn't even leave the ground. It spins in a circle, but still, because
people have got thrown from that too.
Exactly, but they go around. They gonna lift up on the bar a couple of times. They gonna make sure they tell you, pull on, tug on a little bit. Let me see individually, but you're standing there talking to 3 other guests. He is literally right there. And the fact of the matter is, if you're seeing someone who's 6'5", you are not invisible to me. If you're taller than me, automatically you're not invisible, because I notice it. Whether you're in my peripheral or not, I'm looking over and I'm seeing, like, okay,
You're
so
towering over everybody else.
Right, that's a tall person. Let me go make sure them, because again, like they said, he had been denied every other ride there. They told him, you are too big for the ride, so we can't allow you to get on. As a child, I get it. You could get frustrated with it, because it's like, this is an amusement park. Why we ain't making rides for people who are taller? Like, it ain't just short people, because the same thing when you're too little and they say, well, you got to be at least this tall to ride this ride. I used to feel like they're too light, really. But again, when you're a kid, you're not thinking about the safety part of it.
Right.
You're a child. It's not your responsibility. You don't work there. You didn't make the ride. So,
and I don't think when you think of safety, I don't think. I mean, let's be honest. Most of us, when we think safety, we're not thinking life-threatening safety at an amusement park. I mean, we had an incident here
right,
in Ohio where someone lost their life on a ride here that broke free, and I think it needs to be more attention brought to these rides. I mean, maybe we need to start saying, hey, after so many years, this ride has to be decommissioned. I mean, you do it with airplanes, you do it
not
with
even so many years, especially these like fairs and stuff. Them rides go up, they come down in a week, and they're on to the next city, throwing them up, and they're ready to go. Even fair rides have malfunction. Now I get the more
that's what I'm saying.
Put them down, put them up, but I feel like every month there needs to be an inspection.
Yeah,
but
and
you also need to make them go to a safety school to know how to properly work those rides.
it needs to be federally regulated, I believe, because you think about it, if I'm selling a ride, you selling a ride, Carlos selling a ride, Jazz selling a ride, and we just selling rides, and we got rides all these different amusement parks and fairs, these mobiles. Like, it's one thing to have a stationary amusement park where they're coming and they're probably regularly investigating and they're inspecting. But I believe complacency, that's when, in the driving industry, and Jazz can verify that, we always say the moment you get complacent, the moment you get comfortable, something's going to go wrong. And you could drive and utilize the same vehicle every single day, and you could drive the same route every single day, but something can change. If it snows and then the power lines get a little bit lower, weighed down from ice, or then they dry up, or a tree starts to hang a little bit, or it's just different things. Or they're always in their car at the same time, but somebody's not paying attention, a kid running in front, it's just different thing, a deer, you know what I'm saying? Anything, once you become, it's all good. Think about it. Most amusement park operators, like you said, they're on autopilot. They're just going around and they're not even looking at you most of the time. They just pull a little snag. Okay, everything's normal, and they let you go.
The thing with that whole situation is definitely lack of communication, and um, I mean accountability. I'm sorry. So, and with that being done, that's them trying to shift the blame on the actual customer, the young man. I think that is definitely not fair. I think that all legal action need to be taken against them, not
Hmm.
one to be
Agree.
held wholly responsible for this incident. Um, those none of those rides are they supposed to be tested and proven to be safe, especially when you're lifting human bodies so many feet in the air. Me myself, no, I will not get on. I don't trust anything of
Right.
that sort, but to each his own. But what I will say is that, these rides supposed to be tested for those type of circumstances. It's not the first time this has happened. And so I feel that any company or any amusement park should take all the safety precautions and extra measures to provide that type of safety to customers, to people that are coming to these events, because accidents do happen. But
Yeah.
why? How couldn't actually take sole responsibility of something that was deemed, your responsibility in that situation? And so I just feel like that, the parents and all of that, they suffer at the end of the day. Like even if it was compensation from it, but they still suffer the loss of a son. Uh,
Absolutely.
whether there's a sister, she lost the loss of a brother, a grandson.
Well, they said the father actually learned of his son's death through the video that was being passed around social media.
That's
Oh,
got to be tragic. That's tragic. Just to even get that kind of information in to say, hey, he was overweight. Like, come on, man. Like
And
all of
and
these
then
things are
his words to his friend, like I said, even his friend, and telling his father that he said that, if he doesn't make it back down, to tell his mom and dad that he loves them. I mean, that broke my heart. That broke my heart to pieces, because I'm like, so maybe he has some kind of feeling this ain't gonna end right. And it's unfortunate that it did not end right. But I feel also too for his friends that sat and watched it happen. There was nothing they could do to stop it. And then just the rest of the people who got on the ride, who was right there, or as they're exiting that ride, and they had to see that. Like, that's traumatizing. That the friend is going to need therapy, and I hope that he gets that therapy, because that's for being that age to
all
experience
of them.
that traumatic like that. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend everyone who was right there, that seen it the moment it happened, to
Hmm.
get therapy, because that's an image that even me seeing the video, like, you can't stop seeing it. You can't. And then when it's a child, and I feel for the family, because they weren't there. He was on spring break having fun. That was the thing, just having fun. And you leave town, and that's the last time your family gets to see you, because of a person's mistake, who operated that ride failed to do their due diligence to make sure that every person that got on that ride was safe. And I feel they failed him. I'm glad he's got Ben Crump. From what I know, I don't know if that man's ever just lost a case. I mean, from what I've seen so far, he's gotten people settlements, even though it's not about the money. But I do feel like, yeah, that ride needs to be disassembled. There is a petition going around to get it taken down. I encourage everybody who has children and don't have children, sign that petition. It needs to come down.
Yeah. Well, Jazz, how do you feel about it, Jazz? Like, I mean, as a parent, and just your child been out of town, and that's already crazy, a crazy feeling. Your kid been out of town without you, and then this. What are your thoughts on this?
I didn't see the video, and I refuse to watch it. My stomach is not as strong as it used to be. And like you said, I have children. It's hurtful as a mother to think about what happened to him, and then all the things that everybody is saying that they heard him say, you know, while he was wondering if the um, harness was strapped the way it was supposed to. Him sending a message to his family because he wasn't feeling like he was gonna walk away from that ride. Like, it's all heartbreaking and terrible. I feel like The people that operated that ride, especially if they knew that they didn't do everything they were supposed to do before they let that ride go, and they knew that he wasn't supposed to be on it, they need to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
All the way up to whoever owns the amusement park or carnivore or whatever it was. Everybody from the top all the way down need to be held accountable. And definitely for trying to victim shame. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm supposed to carry a manual around when I go to an amusement park that's going to tell me what I can and can't do.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do as the ride operator. You are the expert. I am entrusting my life, my children's life, to you. That you know how this ride do, what it's not supposed to do. That in that you're going to be mature enough, responsible enough to stop something from happening if you have the ability to do so.
I agree.
My 12-year-old just came to me earlier this week and handed me a paper from school, and it has said Six Flags on it.
They still around?
Yeah.
Apparently they are. You know, actually Six Flags is really not that far. It's right up the street in Arlington. But
Right.
I looked at it, but I didn't really look at it. And so I looked at it the other day, well, yesterday, to actually like read it for real. And my daughter's in the band. So the band is wanting to take the band kids to Six Flags. And I'm like, girl, I don't know how to break your little heart gently, but after this, you gonna go without me? No, ma'am. I can't.
When were they set to go? The summer?
I want to say like maybe May, I think. But the thing is like after this, I feel like every amusement park in America probably gonna lose a little bit of money.
I'm done riding rides. After that, I'm good. I'm good on like y'all can have it. I will worship the ground I walk on because I ain't leaving it.
Well, like, you know, and I'll say this, and while I have you right there, Jazz, on the big screen. So think about how when we were talking about like that trucker that killed those people. Mm-hmm. You think about when a plane crash or a city bus crash or a school bus crash, a dump truck, any type of commercial vehicle or a flight, a train conductor or operator, the drivers, the pilots, and the operators and the conductors are always held at a higher and different standard. So why is it now? Because a truck driver and all that, you know, NTSB would have already been on it. This probably would have been already behind bars while they investigated. Why is it that we can always have negligence in other areas? And I'm talking teachers when something happens. I'm talking these ride operators. I'm talking about a grocery store clerk. If you are properly trained, why is it that these other people are held at a higher standard? They always tell us in CDL, right? It's such an important, you know, people's lives are in your hands. And you're supposed to be responsible. Are people's lives, is that not a safety sensitive? I don't even know if they drug test for their operators or things.
There's some druggies that operate them type of rides all day, every day.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if you have to have a license to operate all rides or maybe certain rides or like how whatever. But if you do not, then I think that's why.
But
me and you, we hold CDLs.
Right.
So, of course, like you said, a CDL holder, we up there. So we do. I mean, anything, even something that is beyond our control. One of the companies I drove for, lady fell asleep. It was early in the morning. She fell asleep while she was driving in the opposite direction. Car crossed the median. She smashed into the rig. She died. He lost his CDL for life. Company had to pay $80 million to the family. The judge said, well, had you not been there, she would have never crashed. She would have never ran into you. Now, mind you, I worked for this company. And my thought process is like, this is how you're justifying this? Right. Her falling asleep and running into a semi. If you understand how a semi operates, do you understand that he saw her coming, but he could not stop that rig? He wouldn't have been able to. So what was he supposed to do? kill itself.
Right. And see, and that's what I'm saying, that standard is there for those things. But then when it comes to another safety sensitive situation, or what should be deemed as safety sensitive, because you have what, lives in your hands. I feel like this should be something we're talking about, petitions for these rides to be taken down. We need to be petitioning for there to be, again, federal regulation. People need to be drug tested before they're operating these things. People need to be licensed.
Gonna definitely come behind it, because this family's got a lawsuit. I think we don't even need the petition for that. It's gonna come. Because like the family said, that ride is coming down. Whether we got to be the ones to take it down or we help them take it down, that ride is coming down. And so I think all these amusement parks are taking heed of Icon Park's mistake. And they're probably already kind of getting lined up like, look, hey, this
if they don't, they should. If they don't, they should. They would be crazy if they don't, because
absolutely
this when they see where they get hit, from that.
They will do that. When they see where they get hit, they're gonna do that.
So
there's no way they're not paying for that. I don't like way.
Unfortunately, we gotta move to the next subject. So our next subject is we're going to discuss the tragedy of the 12 and 14-year-old. It was an accident, a terrible accident involving a handgun. Ikea, you want to elaborate more on that story?
So basically, from what the news was saying, is they were at a birthday party. Mm-hmm. The 12-year-old, her name was Paris, and I want to say the boy's name is Karan. I don't know if I'm saying it wrong or not, but it starts with a K. And his last name is Harvey as well. And from what the mother said, they were close. They were close cousins, but they were at a birthday party. And of course, they were in the bathroom on Instagram Live. And they, again, doing things that kids should not be doing. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, because of that mistake, that decision to do that, it cost them both their lives. There is a news clip of them just kind of talking about it. I'm going to play it for you real quick, but I need to just make sure that everybody is.
Kelly, police are still investigating exactly how this shooting happened, but the mother of Paris Harvey, 12 years old, tells me it was all accidental. Shanice Harvey wept on her front porch less than 12 hours after she learned her daughter Paris and her brother's son Karan were dead.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
It happened at about 2 o'clock Friday morning here at the couple's apartment complex in downtown St. Louis, just a few blocks away from Busch Stadium. Shanice said she let her daughter go to a party with family to celebrate March birthdays.
And everybody was getting together to celebrate. And so the younger kids, they got a bed and breakfast.
Shanice said her daughter found a gun and accidentally shot and killed her cousin. Police are calling the little girl's death a suicide. Shanice believes her daughter shot herself accidentally. And it was all streamed live on Instagram.
They was making a video, and she was playing with the gun, but it went off and hit him. And as it hit him, she dropped the gun, and it fell, and it went off, from my knowledge. And then when she picked it up by the barrel, and it went off. And that's all I know.
I'm so sorry.
I appreciate you all trying to get the story right. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Because it seems like you have just as many questions as we do about how could this happen at 2 o'clock in the morning with kids this young?
Yeah, and there's no way that, with all that family, they should have basically made sure she was okay. Everybody should have stuck with somebody. We got to look out for each other. We're family. And, they're young. So.
Now, police are still trying to determine who owned the gun and whether anyone can be charged in connection with this terrible tragedy. Live in downtown St. Louis, Christine Byers, 5 on your.
So, yeah,
Um,
that's
that
another
was that was
a lot.
it was a lot, and it was heart wrenching as a parent again,
Mm.
watching a parent grieve the loss of their child. As a parent, your biggest fear is having to bury your child,
Mhm.
and that was heart wrenching. I remember when it was sent to me, I sent it to you, and it, it was a lot to see that happen. I do feel like there needs to be some accountability there.
On
We need to
whoever
get
was at whoever the adults were, I feel accountability should be brought up on them
those
because
children were failed
you can
by
say
every adult in that
they
house.
were 12 and 14, and I know I was seeing some people. I even seen someone comment and say "stupid kids." Okay, there again, the last word that you said was kids. They are kids. I understand they were teenagers, but again, I wish adults would stop trying to make kids like they have adult mindsets. They do not. They are still sponges.
There's still some adults that
Yeah,
don't
yes.
have
And they think that you're supposed to be just the smartest kid on the block. Now, granted, I know you know certain things right from wrong. Obviously, they knew they shouldn't have been playing with a gun. We know that part. But again, these are minors. And so as long as they're under the age of 18, the adult is responsible for what they do. So because they said that was the first question I'm thinking where they got it from. Then supposedly someone said the 14-year-old brought it in his book bag, but I don't have any evidence of that. So
yeah.
you're saying it was brought, rather it was brought or they got it from the place they was at. Why was it that you seemed to me there was a lot of adults there? And at the end of that video, you're hearing a woman's voice saying, I think they was online. So one of you or some of you are aware they were online. And this is where I think charges may get brought up because before the end of that video and at the front of that video, the first woman's voice, I heard her say, hey y'all, don't shoot nothing. That's it. So to me, someone knew something and y'all weren't watching.
That's terrible. Carlos, what's your thoughts on it, man? Because I mean, I know you're a parent and you know you're a responsible person, man. What's your thoughts and feelings on
Uh, first of all, I'd like to say it's a tragic situation. I mean,
it? Very.
heart goes out to their families. You know, just hate to even hear things like that. My take on it, Run, man, is definitely supposed to be a area where children are not exposed to those type of weapons or whatnot, or any weapon of that sort. It should have been definitely put in a safe place. I did read in the article that it's possibly the young boys, I think, weapon or whatnot. But I'm like, how did he get access to it? What's going on in the home? What are what's taking here? How did he get exposed to that? And so it definitely goes back to that lack of accountability
Mm-hmm.
as well. Because who's actually responsible for these young teenagers or
Right.
monitoring the things that they're doing, at home? And so this case, just like for my children, like, of course I believe in protection, but one thing what I did was always put things in, first of all, secret places that they wouldn't even imagine to go, so high up that they would have to climb, stack a ladder on top of ladder to get to it.
Exactly.
It just certain things, ounce prevention is worth a pound of cure. And
Man.
in this case right here, it was just totally negligence on the parent part, uh, and definitely lack of attention in the home. And it's just terrible that these tragic incidents have to take place for us to, you know, take responsibility and basically pay closely attention to our youth, because man, they're dying behind simple altercations or simple situation like this. Playing with a gun. First of all, we knew that they didn't obviously didn't have knowledge of what they had in their hand because it was misused and caused, these tragic incidents to take place. So we just have to definitely look at this thing. Definitely the parents that have, they dropped the ball with this one, and whoever else, just the child having a weapon like that in their possession, it shouldn't just never happen, man.
That
And
shouldn't
things
have.
happen, man. Don't get me wrong, things happen. I'm not saying all of us, are perfect in the area. Things can happen. But you try to go the extra measure due to all the things that you have heard and seen, happen, like simple mistakes like that. So, we have to work harder in keeping those type of weapons or not being exposed to the youth at their
Yeah.
early age, and if so, teaching them how to use and how to use it for the safety purposes when using it or picking it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, it's another situation that involves children, and I'm a mother. So not only that, but I have a 12-year-old. So it's like, man, it could have been my 12-year-old. It could have been one of my children. Yes, the question is, how in the world were they able to get their hands on a gun? First question. But then as a community, the next question is, what are we going to do? Because it's like you all said, our children are dying at exponential rates behind things that they shouldn't have to die behind, like finding guns or being out on the street or, bullying or whatever the situation is. So the question that I want to pose to the adults, parents or not, is what do we do now and how do we prevent this type of thing from happening again? Is it really going to take stricter laws on the people responsible when these children get their hands on a gun and either commit a crime or kill themselves or someone else, or what? Like, what's it going to take?
Yeah, I like what you said. I appreciate that.
Like
And with that,
what it's going to take.
And with that, we're just going to talk briefly. This is our segue. It's kind of connected to this. So should social media require ID for age verification? We all know that people, lie about their age to get on social media, to be on social media for a plethora of reasons. But should social media require an ID for age verification? In my opinion, I believe yes. It's just like when people get their blue checks on IG and verify, you have to send in a copy of your ID, and it should be just to protect. We should not pull out any stops. We shouldn't, we should not get to a point where we don't mind. Whereas, like, we're acting like it's a hassle to protect our children. We shouldn't mind doing whatever it takes to protect our youth and our children. And my example, and I move on. Well, move on to you guys. I remember in 2020, my kids were talking about TikTok, and I was like, okay, I'll create one to do videos with y'all, whatever. And then there was that flip the switch challenge, and everybody's flipping the switch, and they were switching their clothes, and then it got crazy because then I started seeing adults. They flipped the switch. One time they flipped the switch. I seen this video where some lady was going down on a guy. They flipped the switch. Some dude was back shots. Like, it was crazy. And I'm like, there's fucking kids on here. And so I banned my kids from it. They were done with it. And I really haven't done much with it at all. But what do you guys, what do you take on it? Jazz, what's your take on this? Should social media require ID for age verification?
I think so, but I think they're going to find a way to get around it like they do just about everything else.
Okay, true.
So I feel like if it's going to happen, it's got to be a lot tighter than just showing the ID. Because, how easy is it these days to get a fake ID?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We can get just about anything fake at this point except a house.
But see, they can verify the front and back, like why my name is on blast on Facebook, because I went to Facebook jail. And the only way I was getting my account back was they said, you got 3 ways you can verify. You can do it through your bank card, which I was like, shit, you got me messed up. I mean, not that I'm like, I ain't got Zuckerberg money, but I ain't giving you that bank card. So I had to do the ID. You have to take a picture of that ID, the front and the back, and they are looking for it. But I think even then, you can, just like when you get a bank account now, like if you're doing it online, you have to literally, like, you gotta take a picture of your ID. You have to hold it a certain way, and it will literally, it's like it's scanning it in a sense. We
Yeah.
have them apps on our phone where scan this and it'll automatically pull you up on the website. So there is a way to do it. I think the reason they're not doing it is because you got to think of it. Facebook has the most users out of all the social platforms. They have that, they are still number one. But again, when you revert back to what these kids are exposed to, and that's why I said when Kanye made that a thing, get my daughter off of TikTok, she's 8. I was agreeing to that. An 8-year-old should not be on there. A 10-year-old should. I really feel like, you know what? You need to be driving a car before you can be on social media. At least because then you can have a driver's license.
Yeah.
And when they verify that, you're verifying your identity. I don't feel like you should be under aliases on social media. You won't be on social media. We need to know who you are. Because that can kind of weed out some of the stuff that's going on social media.
Yeah,
People are
probably
under
so.
aliases. I don't know their name. I can be Jane Doe. And they're going to let me slide right through.
Yeah,
My
Carlos, what you think?
thing is like that. So
I mean, yeah, I do feel like all, every social media platform should, require that. But again, like, Jazz and Kia was saying, I mean, it's they're gonna find a way around it,
they will. But
because
if
the
it
children,
ain't regulated, that's the way to
yeah,
stop it.
right? Because the
Mandated to
children,
be a law or take it down. And Zuckerberg ain't giving up that money. So
right? Well, the children are that's like their biggest stage platform for viewers. The children are able to they own it all the time. So to do that would prevent a lot of them, to take away a lot of their participation with it. And that's what I do feel like. That's why they wouldn't do it, because it's a way, And my whole ordeal is just, you know, it should definitely be pushed out there, because there's so many things that's happening other than just them being exposed to things, but a lot of children, a lot of things are happening, because a lot of people are online from all over the world, and when you grant that access, um, you know, that's an open gateway for other things to take place. And children, when I know a lot of children, um, even my own, they were changing the date of births on there. So that's what a lot of them were able to get on the social medias
but that's how
without
you stop it, though.
parents
The
knowing.
driver's license. The
Right.
driver's license is not going to allow you to come in
But
and change your birthday and say I'm
I
16. But
totally
I'm
agree with that. Totally agree.
Yep.
What was
Well,
happening? When you're presenting that age, you may have a guy that's of that age that's approaching you, and you like, that can turn anyway.
goes in a whole nother.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that just
So,
opened up to another way. So I do agree. I think they should, require ID for that. Literally.
okay. All right. Good stuff. So listen, we thank all of our viewers for watching. We're about to wrap this episode up. This was episode 7 of the Real Black Talk segment, featuring IKEA Lindsay, Jasmine Lindsay, my man Carlos Sims, and yours truly, Ron Watley. Thanks again so much for tuning in with us. We hope to see you next time. But before we leave, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and even share. Share the wealth. We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Peace.